Hi students, in this video we are going to talk about creating a personal color scheme or a color palette. And so to do that, first we're going to review what is a color scheme. So a color scheme is a selection of colors for a particular work of art. So sometimes artists will use the color wheel to select their color schemes. And this picture here shows some of the common color schemes based on the color wheel. So we've got monochromatic, which is when you choose just one color. Complementary colors, where you choose colors that are across from each other on the color wheel. Analogous colors, where the colors are all beside each other on the color wheel. Or triadic color schemes, where we form kind of a triangle on the color wheel. Okay, so here's some examples. We've got monochromatic here. So with red, you're using all the tints and shades, the different values and tones of red. So you would be adding more white or more black to lighten or darken that color. And this is an example of Alma Woodsey Thomas's piece that uses a monochromatic color scheme. So all the examples in this little video are all from Alma Woodsey Thomas, who's widely known as being a really an artist that was able to really masterfully use color. So complementary colors, here's an example of orange and blue color scheme. When you mix complementary colors together, they make a very neutral brown. And these kinds of colors, complementary colors, pop because they're opposites. They're visual opposites. So it's a way to make a big visual impact. So we've got analogous colors, so all beside each other on the color wheel. Typically, this color scheme will create kind of a calming effect. And here's an example. And then triadic colors spaced evenly in like a triangle shape on the color wheel. In this case, it's all three of the primary colors. And here's one of Alma Woodsey Thomas's pieces with a triadic color scheme. Okay, so color schemes, how does a color scheme, what's the differences and similarities between a color scheme and a color palette? So typically I think that a color palette will just have more different colors in it. So you would start by kind of coming up with the underlying scheme for your color palette, and then you're going to choose the different colors or hues that would be included in your color palette. So we've got some examples on the slide here. So for a monochromatic color scheme, we would choose, so this is with yellow and then different tints and shades of yellow. And same with this, different tints and shades of magenta. So we'd start with a color and then we build the color palette around that color. And then with analogous, so it's all sort of blues and greens, pinks and purples. And with complementary, we're starting out with like red and green, and then we're having colors that are related to red and green added in, and same with this with blue and orange. So what your job is for this sketchbook task is to create at least 5 different color palettes based on the prompts on the next slide. So your color palette will have from 4 to 5 colors. Some color palettes have lots more colors than 4 to 5 colors, but you'll pick 4 to 5 colors that match with the prompt or theme. And it's really personal because it's based on your own personal experience with that theme. So you can make your colors using paint. You can use pencil crayons, you can use pastel, you can go and use collage materials, like go into magazines and find color samples. You could use those little color swatches from Home Depot with like the paint in the paint section. You could use a digital app to create your color palettes. And here's just an example from a graphic designer named Jenna O'Brien, who makes color palettes based on feelings, places, events, and her own personal experience. So this is a color palette for the month of November. So all of the different like titles that she's given her colors all have something to do with the month of November. So on the next slide, these are the prompts. So we have several different feelings. We have some places, the place you grew up, a walk in the forest. And yeah, that's our prompts. And then let me give a quick example so that kind of brings some clarity to this. So here is a color palette with 5 different colors in it, and it's based on the prompt where I grew up. So I'm guessing that this is from like a prairie location, perhaps. All of these colors kind of remind me of like the prairies and the earth. And then we've got the blue sky. So the where I grew up prompt is going to be different for everybody. So everybody would select different colors based on things that relate to their personal experiences. So and I could choose like a color scheme. Like I could think about, am I going to do analogous? Am I going to do complementary based on the visual impact that I want to have? So if I wanted to have the where I grew up palette to be really calming, I would probably pick some analogous, which is what these are, right? Most of these are the warmer colors. And then we just have some green and blue kind of sprinkled in there.